Got Your Back Pod Stream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at mrdirk.com. So is Calvin Pickard the best backup in the National Hockey League? Certainly has to be in the conversation, you would think. You know he's won 8 of his last 9 starts. And what a performance against the Wounded Wild. They put up a real scrappy fight against the Oilers. Calvin Pickard shut the door. Big 5-3 win for the Oilers on the road. The team continues to roll right along. Welcome to Got Your Back post-game edition, folks. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, or if you've downloaded us and you're driving in your car or out for a walk or on a run or jogging, we appreciate your downloads in podcast form as well. I'm Ryan Rashog. Jason Strudwick is standing by. Rob Brown is going to join us, and Zuby, the goaltending guru, probably has a thing or two to say about what he saw from Calvin Pickard tonight. As always, this show is brought to you by our title sponsor, Play Alberta, the official gaming partner of all the major Alberta teams. Whoever you cheer for, Play Alberta is cheering you on. Bet on your favorites, get in on odds boosts, and make game time more interesting. Deposit today, get a $50 free bet with the code GYB01. That is playalberta.ca, code GYB01. Coming at you from the new and improved Adrenaline Diesel studio here in Sherwood Park. They now have an online store for all your diesel truck parts needs. Check out adrenalinediesel.ca. All right, let's bring in Struds. Let's bring in Zuby. Okay, guys, I'm fired up about this. You're not going to be able to actually see it during the show, boys, but I got a wonderful Christmas present from the crew at Got Your Back, so I'm just going to slide back here. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to tilt the camera. We can show everybody. Check this out, boys. Boom. It's a little too bright for on air, and I'll move my big fat head out of the way. Check that out.
Ooh.
Hey, boys.
Sweet.
Oh, yeah.
It's very sexy, yep.
Nothing but budget here in the Adrenaline Diesel studio. I love it, man. Yeah, that was great, Zuby. So you had that made, Zuby. You sent it out to Randine and I for Christmas, which we greatly appreciate. Who did that for you? They did a hell of a job.
It's a company called AF Cultures, and I had seen them come up in some of my various feeds from time to time, and I always thought, man, they look so cool. And it's like metal, right? It's like metal, and they do the cutouts, and you send them the logo, and it's really intricate and detailed, the work that they do on it. So that's the first one. I might have to get a Growler Media Group one. Throw it on my wall here in the back.
What do you think, Struds? You can maybe replace one of your color paintings there?
One of my idols? You're asking me to replace one of my idols? Go, that's what I guess we don't need idols, right? No one to look up to.
If you had to pull one off the wall, who would you pull off the wall behind you, buddy?
God. That's like asking who my least favorite child is.
Okay, well, we can get to that next. That's our Struddy's world tonight.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, the big reveal. Tune in. Yeah, I don't know. That's maybe Magic Johnson, but I feel sick saying that. I want to puke just saying that. Like, all these 3 guys are instrumental in motivating me to be a really good, a pretty good hockey player.
Average tennis player. An average tennis player.
Yeah,
to be a below average tennis player.
Yeah.
And a mediocre golfer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Those are fair comments.
Zuby, who's your idol, buddy? Who would you put up there as your idol? Who was your guy growing up?
My sporting idol probably is Andy Moog. That was always my guy. I loved him growing up. He was and I loved Grant Fuhr too. And of course, what a pretty good time goaltending wise to be an Oiler fan. But I always loved Andy Moog. And then as I got older and was playing and kind of only ever achieved the same height as Andy Moog and not much else.
Yeah. Love it.
Then that's where I was like, I know he was just my guy. I loved him, and I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. And I know he's been battling lately too, so I hope he's doing well. But in the Twitterverse, whenever a question gets asked who should be in the Hall of Fame, that's not from Zuby, you'll see Andy Moog. Period. No explanation. No nothing else. And that's my answer.
I love it.
But Zuby,
that's loyalty
just
right
be
there.
honest with us. You're not being honest. Your idol is the dude from The Big Lebowski.
Well, one of my idols. I do have a poster of him from my old set. I do have the dude. Yeah. Oh, I would wish to live like the dude.
The dude abides.
We got an early chime in here on the YouTube stream. Struddy, a great jack of all trades, great analyst. This is from Noah, and great iPhone game recommender. Block Blast is awesome. The reviews are in, Struds. You have led people down a positive path and improved lives.
Yeah, no, nothing. You just waste time on there. Like, I'm not, it get an addiction. I just showed just like a gateway to other gaming problems.
Love it. Hey, let's ask the people on the stream tonight that are with us. Who's your idol? Who is your person growing up? Throw some answers into the stream. Zuby, you can pick them off along the way. Throw some in if you want. We'll ask that question to you, the live audience. Who was your idol? I'll say Mark Messier for me. Excuse me. Grew up, I was a big Oiler fan when I was a kid, before I had to turn in the fan card for the microphone. But Mark Messier was my guy, big time for me. And very cool. Years later, got to meet him, got to know him a little bit, a few interviews and such. So I was lucky to be able to meet and interview some of my idols growing up. So who was yours? Let us know. Okay, enough of this. Let's get to the breakdown because we got an interesting game to break down and a hell of a performance from Calvin Pickard. It's brought to you by the Alberta Ram Dealers. The 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. See your Ram dealer and see them today. Just to set up the show really quick before we get rocking and rolling here, we're going to have some John Klingberg discussion. That's going to come in the second segment in Takeaways. Brownie should be joining us by then. We'll get his opinion on that. Lots of chatter surrounding the Oilers potentially adding Klingberg on a little look-see deal to see if maybe he can help out. Let us know what you think. That'll be the subject of our DeBoer's YouTube poll tonight as well. So send us your thoughts on that, and we'll get to that a little later on in Ask Us Anything. Struds, not only was Calvin Pickard excellent tonight, and he bounced back a little bit, right? Couple early goals, but I didn't know he was that athletic. Like, he made some athletic saves tonight, man.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, really, this whole we could wrap this thing up in 30 seconds and just say that Calvin Pickard won the game for them. Like, that's how well he played. There was a lot of goals or shots that should have been goals that he saved. Many off of good player sticks. These weren't the guys hacking it up on the fourth line. These are legit goal scorers, Boldy, Rossi, these kind of guys shooting pucks. Eck. There's another guy.
Eriksson Ek. Joel Eriksson Ek.
I always want to say Oliver. So Eriksson Ek. Yep. He the save. So let's start there with the 2-on-0. So a tough. How can I say this? It was an odd time for the Oilers to change when the puck didn't get deep, and it results in a 2-on-0 in the second period because of the long change. And it's a long 2-on-0. That's the kind of 2-on-0 you see in practice. You're like, you get it from the red line, and you're going in on 2-0, working on your game. And Pickard kind of loads up his left leg and pushes the cross, expecting the pass, and he gets his blocker up on that. And that was a huge save, and I felt it was a turning point in the game. If Minnesota scores there, we could be talking about a different night. But he turned the game with that play, made many other good saves. Even towards the end of the game, they were getting great chances from the slot. So the Oilers had an off night defensively, but their goalie had an exceptional night, even though he let 3 goals in.
He had their back. He absolutely had their back. Let's get to Calvin Pickard postgame. I think he was so good. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's hear from the man himself. We'll go to the Weiss Johnson sound box. If it's time for a new furnace, garage heater, or hot water tank, Weiss Johnson's there for all your home comfort needs, specializing in servicing your existing systems or installing new ones. Stay cozy this winter. Visit Weiss-Johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Calvin Pickard post game.
Got to shut the door. Obviously, they had some good looks there early in the second, and they ended up getting one. But it's still a one-goal game, and you just got to keep hitting the ball back and keep the game close, because obviously we have a great team that can score goals, and we did that tonight.
What goes through a goaltender's mind when he sees a 2-0?
Stay patient. Don't want to. I guess I cheated a little bit, just expecting the pass, but it's tough. But I feel like in the player's mind, they almost want to pass at least once. So, and he did that. He kind of waited me out and then passed his. It was a good play, but it was nice to get that save.
Well, let's keep it going. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on Calvin Pickard.
Obviously that 2-0 save. It's huge at that time of the game. And then I think he had another cross seam one that could have went in for sure. So you get big stops like that, you want to go out there and do something for him and for them. And I thought we did a good job of battling back. They obviously got the third first, but again, just stick with it and trust it.
How about the head coach?
It was outstanding. The chances that we gave up, high quality chances, and there's going to be those chances occasionally, just because of. It happens. You can't play a perfect game, but we definitely had more chances against high quality than we would have liked to give up. And some of those saves, acrobatics, it was something. It was a great game by him. Not too often you say, "Oh, he was spectacular" after letting in 3 on 30 shots, but he was.
Well said by all. According to Sport Logic, at all strengths, high danger scoring chances, 11-7 for Minnesota. There had to be 5 or 6 really, really good saves from Calvin Pickard among those high danger chances. He was excellent. And at even strength, high danger chances, 8-6 in favor of the Minnesota Wild. Struds, I really love he made another huge save, and then puck goes down the ice in the other. I love when that happens, man. Big save at one end, puck down the ice. And I believe it was the 5-3 goal, I think, right? He made like a sequence of 3 saves in about 50 seconds or a minute, and then that leads to the McDavid goal down at the other end. So really clutch right through to the end, and played a big role in helping him get the insurance marker.
Yeah, and you can always tell when teams really feeling their goalie's holding him in there. They go out of their way to tap him on the pads after a save, or to give him a brush, give him a little love. Normally give the guy a tap, or you're like, hey man, you're doing your job. Like, let's not get too crazy. But tonight they were definitely going out of the way to make sure that they felt it. Or he felt and he knew what he was meaning to him, their game, the way he was playing. But just to touch on that McDavid goal, the 5-3, there's maybe 10 players in the league that can make that shot. Maybe,
especially off a broken handle. It was off a broken play, a broken stick handle in play. Yeah.
To be so patient, to end up there. Most guys would panic in the NHL and just fire it, or maybe go around the back and whatever. But he just holds on. You're right. Bumbles it a bit, then just gets it back. It's like, oh, hold on. I'll just put this in there, and just shoots it right over the goalie. Like, what more is the D or the goalie supposed to do in that moment? Like, he at the end of the day, I think they both played it pretty well. Unfortunately, the player with the puck just played it that much better. And 10 might be even high. I'll be interested to ask Brownie how many players could make that shot under that pressure, not just standing there, shoot it, but under pressure in that moment.
Hang on here, Shane Matheson. Noah Rinsky, disagree with Struddy there. Shane Matheson, that's a bad goal. We all know it. A goalie can't allow that. Amazing shot, but goalie can't allow that. Sounds like we need to bring in our goaltending, our Tier 12 men's league goaltending experts.
Let's hear it.
Zuby, what say you, buddy, on that McDavid goal? Do you agree with what Shane is saying, that you cannot allow that goal, or all world by an all-world player?
It's all world. You're playing the percentages, as a goal. When you get down, those plays get down to the goal line. I'm sure Gustafson's not thrilled about it, because you always think to yourself, I could have been tighter, I could have stayed up, I could have kept my shoulder higher, whatever. But that's a perfect shot, especially after he has to go around the defender. I'm sure he's thinking all that's left is a pass. So I bet Gustafson, he'll probably watch it and think he could have done something different, but really in the moment, what are you going to do? It's all world. It's a spot this big that he hit, right? It's barely bigger than a puck.
Obelisk21 says, I don't think it was a bad goal. You have to cover the bottom of the net. Yeah, I think you got to give props to McDavid, who, by the way, passes Yari Curry on the all-time Oiler scoring list, 1,044. Ho-hum Connor McDavid with a 2-goal, 1-assist, 3-point night. Goes 60% in the face-off circle. Real nice night offensively there from Connor McDavid. Zuby, hop back in one more time. Of the difficult saves that we saw from Pickard tonight, which one impressed you the most? Like, degree of difficulty, which one do you think was highest on the list?
I guess the 2-on-0, because he did, it wasn't like he muffed the finish either. He got that shot up off the ice to blocker height right at the post. And that's just reading it. And, you know, whenever I watch Calvin Pickard, I always think to myself, I don't think any goalie coach is using Calvin Pickard game film as it's not beautiful what he does, you know? It's just really effective, and that all comes down to the read. He read that, and like he said in the post, he felt like guys on a 2-on-0 usually want to try and make at least one pass, and he read it and timed it and got the block right there. It was an excellent save. There were so many. Right. Him going side to side, he must have made 5 saves on tough one-timers, moving side to side. It was a fabulous game.
Yeah, it was really good, man. Couple of times he spread up. I was like, whoa, I didn't know he was not full splits, but I didn't know he had that kind of athleticism in the pads. Like some really impressive lower body saves I thought there as well. Okay, lots more beyond just Calvin Pickard in that game tonight, Strud. So let's dig in a little bit more. Big picture, what went on with the Oilers. Pretty sloppy start. A lot of stuff not to like, but resilient, man. Like resilient. They don't go away. And they find a way to sort of counterpunch. At the end of the day, it is a quick line change as Knobloch throws the big guns out there on the back end of a power play goal from Rossi. So he goes with the big guns the next shift, and once again, he finds an answer with those big guns. And then a resilient couple of minutes for the Oilers.
Yeah, no, they gave themselves a chance to hang around, especially after some of the decisions that were early in the game. And I want to talk about Josh Brown's situation. So he gets hit hard by Luke Trennan, right? Comes in and he wants to respond. So he goes out after him. And I get it. He wants to go at him. But in that moment, you can't take a penalty to try to get him to fight you. You have to talk to him. And I understand the moment you're excited, you're fired up, you're going to give this guy a beat down. But you can't chase that player out and punch him from behind like that and take the penalty. You just can't do that, because as soon as you do that, the other guy's like, I'm not fighting. I know this guy's got it too. And then he got scored on. So I'm glad they continue to play Josh. And I thought actually had a pretty good game tonight by his standards. But that was a bad decision, along with, the change we talked about, the change and the game, the 2-0, like just those choices, Chager. Yeah. You cannot have those in a game. Minnesota's a good team. They're missing massive amount of talent. But that Josh Brown, I just wanted to get clear on that, because it's not the intention. It's how he did it and delivered it that was the mistake.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. I found it interesting that, it was a no-doubter from Knobloch. He went right back to the player. There was no sitting him down. There was no getting him out of the rotation. And in fact, Josh Brown played 17 minutes and 25 seconds tonight. That is a pile of minutes for what we all agreed was probably a number 8 defenseman. So not only he's in the lineup, he's next to Darnell Nurse. He's playing minutes. He's playing a lot lately. For some reason, something has changed, and the organization has decided we need to see what we have here with Josh Brown, because he is being given opportunity that feels like look-see opportunity. Need to lean into the guy, good or bad, give him enough ice time to sort himself out and see what we've got. It feels very deliberate, Struds, the way they're handling Brown right now.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I think that he's a heavier player, and I think that they want to try to add some heavier players to their lineup. Tonight, if there's an issue, and let's say Trennan, like you don't want Darnell Nurse fighting Luke Trennan. Like you want this big monster doing it, and you're happy if you take someone off on the other team with him. So that is, that to me is why they're trying to get him in there. They're trying to maybe evaluate what they look like. If Stetcher and Brown can play, some of the high points like they have in the playoffs, if there's injuries, like, okay, maybe we could get this through. We don't have to trade for anyone in this role. Like get him in there. So I've liked his game recently. He looks more confident. He's making quicker plays. He did have a tough training camp. I thought he was slow, didn't move the puck quickly. I think he's trying to understand how he needs to play on this team. And he can be a player they need. They need heavy. They need heavy, Shagar.
Yeah, no, I agree. Maybe the organization kept hearing Shoggy talk about needing more hits. Neil Garrity throws that one in there. I think he's moving pretty well too, Struds. I found earlier in the year and in training camp, he looked kind of a little uncertain with his feet and a little bit sluggish. And I find he's actually moving pretty well right now. And I think we're seeing fewer bobbles with the puck. And he's making a little bit more sure-handed plays. So early returns here are good. There's still lots of up and down. But on a night like tonight against a team that was pressing, I thought Brown actually held his own pretty good in there. It'll be interesting to see moving forward if they continue to lean into the player a little bit. I take your point about bigger body, heavier body, a guy that can throw down if he has to. They need someone like this in their lineup. And if Josh Brown can be good enough to be in semi-regularly, that'd be a big break for this team. But they really seem to want to be figuring out whether or not he's going to be able to do this or not. Okay, other elements. I didn't love the fact that the Oilers battled their way back at the end of the first period and they end up tied and then came out and were no good to start the second stretch. Like they shot themselves in the foot after a great comeback effort. Yeah,
the first bit of the first period and then obviously this first bit of the second period, then they kind of got themselves going. But, I think, the overarching thing was a looseness in their own end. Like they were loose defensively. We saw quite a few good opportunities for the Wild in the slot. And that's probably the last place you want these guys shooting from. So, I think that's something they're going to talk about for sure because it's a back-to-back situation. They played pretty good teams, right? And they're beating some good teams. The Kings, now the Wild, now the Avs tomorrow, who will be, more rested than the Oilers and ready to go. But they got to tighten up in their own zone. That'll be the message. The only message, I believe, from their head coach tomorrow.
Yeah, tighten it up for sure. A couple of other elements to hit on. What did you think of the McDavid little miniature chicken wing there? What did you think of that play?
I felt that was an Oscar-worthy award of embellishment on that. He went down like he got hit by a sack of hammers, as my dad would say. Like I thought, was it a bit of a chicken wing? Yes. But it was like the tip of his elbow hitting the tip of his chin, and he went down like he was out. I'm really disappointed in that player's reaction, and I would be embarrassed if I reacted to something like that in such a hard way.
Interesting. Marcus Johansson, I believe it was, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like he might have got him a little better than maybe how it looked. Like, I think Connor, it might have been reactionary because I think Connor sort of thought he was about to get hit and it might have just been a reaction.
Racing.
But he definitely, I don't think it was a glance. I don't think he grazed him. I think he actually got him a little more solid right in this region than even the video looked. And like moving reasonably fast. Like you get popped right in this area. I think it's plausible that he got popped not bad and went down and that McDavid got away with one there. I do believe that's kind of plausible. That's going to be so unpopular on the stream tonight. But I watched that replay a whole bunch of times and I'm like, yeah, he definitely gave it a little something. And you clip a guy in that area, I think he got away with one there.
On Twitter, I said the French judge gave him a 5.9 for diving.
Did you say that?
I did. And I'll stand by it. It was the tip of his elbow. The tip. Like an outie belly button. Caught them barely in the chin or the nose. Like, and he went arms up. Just scream. Like, I'm like, that is, I couldn't believe it. I'd be like, just get up, man. Like, you're embarrassing yourself. I'm sorry. I I can't support that at all. He probably got hit many more times harder than that. It looks bad because it looks like a chicken wing, but it's like that's a rubbing, and there's rubbing and racing, buddy.
The stream is weighing in. I think he hurt himself by the extreme embellishment he pulled. It was a soccer dive, says Dan Grasser. Where was the other one? Shogger, more importantly, does that elbow count as a hit from Ronnie Oceanfront? Very good, Ronnie. Appreciate that. If they don't make the call when Leon was tripped behind the net, I'm okay with them not making the call on McDavid from Obelisk 21. Chad Jenkins says he laid on the ice forever. So, yeah, probably more people agreeing with you on that one.
Yeah.
The other one.
Let me just chime in here, Sean. If you stay down, they better need to call an ambulance to get you off the ice. I truly feel that way. That's how I played. And I think that's how, because you're just wasting everyone's time and you come back right away. Like, you better be out of commission, unable to get off the ice yourself. Otherwise, I think, frankly, it's embarrassing, because you think about it, the medical attention you think you require is on the bench or in the dressing room, which is not in the slot of your own zone. That's where you got to go. That's my public service announcement. I'll hang up.
I'm giving you the last word, and we're moving on because I'm trying to get better at that. Darnell Nurse, hard to the net, through the goaltender, wasn't really pushed. I think the goal absolutely counted, but Struds, I will submit this to you. If the referee were allowed to just go back and watch that play and watch the whole thing, he would go, that's a good goal, and he's got 2 minutes. How do you not get a penalty for steamrolling their goalie in the crease? I don't care if the puck's already in the net. Yeah. How's that not a penalty?
Yeah. So in real time, my initial reaction was, that's a goal and also 2 minutes. That was my initial reaction. Darnell gets clipped a little bit by the player coming back, by the Wild, a little bit. And that might have maybe, encouraged him to lose his balance by accident and to go into the goalie. So, again, it happens so fast in real time. Watching slow motion, it's kind of hard to tell. But I thought that I thought it was a penalty for sure. And you know what? You're like, that's fine. I'll take that 2 minutes, because I like to see driving the net and getting to the net.
Yeah. Okay, let's get to our Relentless Player of the Night, brought to you by UCAN Youth Services. The annual Comedy Nights fundraiser is almost here. I'm fired up for it. 2 great ways you can help support youth in your community. Purchase tickets or a table for one of the unforgettable comedy nights, or donate items or experiences to be featured in the silent auction. Your support makes all the difference. To donate, grab your tickets, visit ucan.ca. Got to get the date on that. I believe it's March. I'll text and try and get those dates, because definitely want to let people know when that thing is. But it's a great night. We go to it every year. Tons of fun, and can't wait for it again this year. Struddy, I have a feeling you're going to go with Calvin Pickard. That's what my gut says. Seems obvious tonight. I don't see any curveballs coming.
Yeah, like Rob Brown's idol, Brian Adams, says, do I even have to say the words? Like, it's Calvin Pickard. Everyone knows that. Like, the guy was so good. He was so relentless out there. And what I liked about it is, not only was relentless, he was resilient. Not ideal to let 2 goals in early, and I'm blaming them on him, but he found a way to just kind of make the next save, then the next save, then the next save, right? And he just hung around. And I think that's one of his biggest attributes, is his ability to reset after a tough start.
Yeah. Great choice for the UCAN Youth Services Relentless Player of the Night. All right. When we come back for takeaways, Rob Brown should be joining us reasonably soon. We're going to get into the John Klingberg discussion. That'll be the subject of our DeBoer's YouTube poll as well. Zuby will get that going during the break. We'll get to that after the break, Zuby. But we got tons more ahead still on the show. We'll have Ask Us Anything a little bit later on. Going to take a look at a goaltender in our Take a Trip segment who could potentially be getting on a plane come trade deadline time. High-profile goaltender we're going to take a look at. We got our Core Blue Liners segment, a defenseman that we watched tonight who made some headlines earlier on this season with the trade. Ask Us Anything. We got Brownie Points and Struddy's World. Lots still ahead on the show. We'll take a lap as well. We got tons, so stay with us here on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more. All right, time now for our takeaways, brought to you by Martin Motorsports. They're clearing out their in-stock pontoon inventory to make room for new arrivals. Save up to $51,000 on in-stock Berkshire, South Bay, and Trifecta pontoon boats. Browse their inventory online or visit Martin Motorsports in Calgary, Edmonton, Kelowna, and Saskatoon to find your next boat today. Oh, we got a little ways to go before we're out on the water, but you might as well get planning now, especially if you can land in one of them beauties. The two tours that we have done over at Martin Motors, over to one of those boats and just sat in it. Just imagine myself out on the water, just relax with the drinks, chill. Those things are absolutely tons of fun out on the water. There's Brownie. You're home tonight, Brownie. We get to see your face instead of your artificially intelligent creation of a picture that we've been using.
Yeah, I've been taking a beating from my son over that picture. He's like, where did they get that from? I said, I think they made it. He's like, yeah, no, he's not sure about that one. So, yeah, this is the one. The other one was artificial. This one here is real. Food and booze made this face right here. Food and booze.
No, we know this one's real, buddy.
Earned every wrinkle. Hey, Zuby, we don't have Brownie's good mic there. Hey, buddy.
No, I don't think so, Brownie. Can you check?
Is that an easy fix?
You might just have to check his connections.
Oh,
hello.
Nope, still don't have it. This will be fun. Let's just watch Brownie try and do technical stuff.
Well,
leave him hanging here.
I don't know anything else to do. Like, what do you do?
You want to bounce out and then bounce back in, or what does he do?
I'm gonna bounce. Yeah, I've always said I wanted to bounce. I'm gonna bounce. See you guys. I'm gonna bounce right.
Yeah, we need the good mic. If he's in for the long haul on the show tonight, we gotta. Come on, Brownie. Hey, Struds.
Ready?
Not like the technically perfect record that you have on the show.
Yeah, come prepared to compete and to be ready to perform. Right? You obviously mailed it in. Mailed her in.
Okay, let's see. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. Brownie.
Let's see. Hold on. He's officially in the green room. How about now, Brownie?
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Oh, still don't have it. Nope. Okay. Well, I guess we'll just have to work our way through it. Yeah, I know. Go figure. Hey, we're live, folks. This is what happens sometimes when you try and get 4 dummies live across multiple platforms and channels. No worries, Brownie. We can still hear you okay, buddy. So it'll do for now. We can try and fix it in one of the breaks. Struds and I just finished our breakdown segment. I mean, the main story of the night, my friend, was really obvious. Calvin Pickard. Which of the saves did you like the best? What did you think, man?
Well, it's funny. The save of the night on our show was the 2-on-0 save, but to me, I thought that was a mistake by Hartman. I thought he screwed up. He waited way too long to make that pass. The save right after it by Eriksson Ek, where he went all the way across for the one-timer, that to me was the save of the night. He got his arm across, got the glove on it. That was the harder of the 2 saves. So, but I mean, then in the third period, he made 2 or 3 more big saves. Calvin Pickard was the star of this hockey game. They don't win this hockey game if he doesn't have the game that he had. Excellent. He's 11-4 in the season. Your backup goaltender, 11-4, and was outstanding in this hockey game.
Lots of mistakes by the Oilers tonight, hey, Brown. Like, nice resilience, but they kept shooting themselves in the foot as well.
Yeah, it was not good defensively. you like the fact they can come back in hockey games and they find ways to win. But I mean, Chris Knobloch said it after the game. So we gave up way too many grade A chances. I mean, Calvin Pickard picked them up and made the big saves, but you just can't play that game that way often. The Oilers don't play that way often. They usually have a pretty solid defensive game. Tonight wasn't one of them. They allowed a Minnesota Wild team, missing their 3 best defensemen and their best player, hang around in a hockey game. This should have been a game that the Oilers should have handily won. But a lot of the mistakes they made were self-inflicted and gave the Minnesota Wild opportunities.
Yeah, Struds, we never really discussed how depleted the Minnesota Wild lineup was. Like, when you add up all those injuries, man, I mean, that would be like the Oilers missing who? Ekholm, Bouchard, Kulak. Yeah, and then McDavid.
And then McDavid. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a beat-up team.
Yeah. And in all honesty, like the D, they were. I didn't think the Oilers tested the D enough tonight for what they had in there. I think they got not lucky, but they got away with one tonight. Is how I'd frame it. They need to have a better effort tomorrow because there's no getting away with it in Denver.
Yeah, great point by you. Yeah, great point by you. There's been a turnaround there. This is not the Avs of the first 6 weeks of the season or 5 weeks of the season. This is a bit of a different Colorado beast that the Oilers are going to roll in and have to play tomorrow night. Okay, we'll do more talking about the game here, but we do want to get to John Klingberg. And, as Dregs reported and has been out there, he's looking at getting back into the game here, getting back into the league, had hip resurfacing surgery, and is kind of ready to get going here. The Oilers are one of a few teams that are right in the mix, but it kind of, you get the feeling like, the Oilers might be right there. So, Struds, when you heard that, what was your initial thought? And I'm sure you've looked into it a little bit more. Where is your head at right now on the Oilers potentially adding Klingberg? Well,
my first reaction was he wants to come back. I was pretty surprised. I'm like, really? What? That's part of me. Is there another John Klingberg? I didn't know there's another one. So after my initial reaction, I started looking into it, and you look at his last couple of years, and he struggled. He struggled, whether with Anaheim or with Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, it's been said that it was because of the injuries he had, the hip injury, got that worked out and got it going. Okay, that's fine. But here's a guy who had a couple tough years. Prior to that, he was an elite defenseman. He was really good, especially in Dallas. He was really good. So which version would you get if you're the Oilers? And I think that's my biggest question. Then how much time we let him to get up and get running? So to me, he's a complete wild card. But for $750,000, I'll pull that wild card. What do you got, Brownie?
I agree, because you're not giving anything up for him. If you don't like him, then you can send him to the minors. If it works out, you just got a guy that can play in your top, they're going to bring him to come try to play with Nurse, you got him in your top 4. And then all of a sudden you got more money at the deadline to fix other holes that you might feel needed fixed. So to me, it's easy because you don't have to give anything up for him, and you're giving him, a salary that you can bury. So yeah, I would go I don't know what you're getting from him. I don't know if I'd have my hopes high. I mean, again, he hasn't played forever, and when he last played, he wasn't very good, and he's had surgeries. But I don't know, maybe lightning strikes for the Edmonton Oilers, and he turns out better than we imagine.
Yeah, so this surgery that he had, I mean, similar to what Patty Kane had done, great results for Patrick Kane, right? Came back and had 80-some points or whatever it was after he kind of got his situation sorted out. So it can make a big difference. The interesting thing about Klingberg is you can attach bonuses to any contract that you give him. So it can be fairly low risk, right? You could do league minimum, but because he was injured the most of last season, he's an older player, and often you can't, you don't qualify for those bonuses as you get on in age, but he would, because he missed a big chunk of the season. So the Oilers could drop some bonuses in there, whether it's games played bonuses, whether it's whatever that looks like. So it is low risk in that maybe you bring him in on a PTO. Maybe you bring him in and he practices for a couple of weeks, with the understanding being, look, if he's up to speed and ready to go, maybe there's a conditioning stint in Baco. Like, who knows what they can do. but a low dollar contract with some bonuses attached that at the end of the day, if it doesn't work and you send him to the minors or he just packs it in, low risk. And the reward here potentially, guys, it wasn't so long ago that this player had $56 million or even more on the table in front of him from the Dallas Stars. This player turned down almost $60 million. Ended up going on a look-see deal to Anaheim, for some reason to a team that already had young, good offensive defensemen. And it's been a disaster ever since. So this guy is trying to get a toehold back on his career. But imagine the thought process, Brownie, having turned down $60 million and then to be where he is here.
I actually can't have that thought process, Schauger, because no one's ever offered me that kind of money or anything close, and I would never have turned it down. But that's got to eat you, seriously eat up inside, that your career hasn't turned out the way you wanted it to. Thus, as when Struddy said he wants to come back, well, now you know why he wants to come back. I think he feels that he might have left money on the table, and also he feels that he's still got something to give. I don't know about a PTO. I don't know I think someone else might take a risk before. If someone say, well, they're giving you a PTO, okay, we'll give you this car. Here it is. Come. I think you can offer him a low contract, and if it does, give him 10 games. And then, but I think you have to do it fairly soon, because you got to know before the trade deadline whether or not this is your answer or not.
Yeah. So guys, I'm going to jump here. There's massive risk if you go John Klingberg and you don't acquire another D-man.
Yes.
Massive, because you can't find out round one that he can't go. So I feel if you get Klingberg, great. You still go out and trade for another D-man, a legit one, unless you're 100,000,000% sure that he's the solution.
Interesting. He's a right shot. So now would you look at a different left shot guy? Like, if Klingberg comes in and shows you he can play, so maybe he's just your 7 then? Maybe he's just the extra guy sitting there? Like Emberson has shown, I'm interested to see Ty Emberson in playoff hockey. I am.
Yep.
Now, maybe you're insulating yourself against injury, Struds, and Klingberg helps you do that. You just have him hanging around instead of Stetcher. That's kind of the thought process.
My concern is that, like, how quickly is this all going to come together for John Klingberg? I'm guessing he's been skating. I'm guessing he's going to need some time to get up to speed. So let's say all these guesses get us to when the Four Nations is over. So let's just call it middle of February. So now you have to make a decision in 3 weeks if this guy can be a solution on June 12th, June 10th, June 9th. Like, that's a big decision. And you might be putting your season in the balance, Brownie, by making it one way or another.
Yeah, you're 100%. That's why, to me, this is something that needs to be done in the next week or 10 days. And you get games in before the Four Nations, because you want a long look at this guy.
But he's got to skate,
as you said,
practice. Where's he
but
practicing?
I don't know how. I have no idea where he is on his recovery.
So
I don't know if
it's January 15th. Let's say he signs tomorrow. How soon can he start playing games? 2 weeks?
Well, if it was me, 6 weeks.
But he's probably in shape and been practicing, right? Like, I'm guessing if Dregs is reporting it, he feels that he's ready. He's in shape, right? He's in shape and ready to go.
But you would think there'd also be reports out there of how he looks. Like, if he's trying to and wants to make a comeback and wants to go to a contender, you would think someone would say, well, we've been watching with this junior team or with this pro team, or all we've heard is that he wants to come back. No one said how his skating is or who he's been skating with. Point. That hasn't come out, which is kind of weird.
Because Kane put a video out, remember? Or his agent or
his agent,
when they were looking for deals. The other thing notable on Klingberg's potential contract, depending on how the Oilers use the cap and how far into LTIR they go, any bonuses that they give Klingberg could end up on the Oilers cap next year. So there is some risk there. You need to be a little bit careful, especially if they're over, if they do this thing with Evander Kane and it plays out that way. Everybody remembers the Connor Brown bonuses and what that meant for the Oilers cap this year. So it's not completely without risk if they throw bonuses in. And maybe that's what teams are trying to consider right now and figure out, is it worth the risk? What kind of deal, if it's just a league minimum with no bonuses and it's strictly just a look-see and it's easily thrown down in the minors, maybe that's a little more palatable than tying up bonuses that could potentially end up on your cap next year. But bottom line, Klingberg wants to show he can play again, wants a chance to win, and needs opportunity. And there could be opportunity here in Edmonton. I mean, the Oilers are one injury away, guys, from, if Klingberg can play at all, them really wishing they would have done this. Like, if it turns out he can play and he comes back and is reasonably useful for somebody, the Oilers are one injury away from, the depth on their blue line gets a little bit dicey. So I think if it's low dollars, I think they should probably give this thing a go. But we will see how this shakes out in the next little bit here. Zuby, why don't you hop in, buddy? I want to know what the people have to say. So let's get to our DeBoer's YouTube poll. Are you fired up for the upcoming golf season? New 2025 equipment from TaylorMade Ping Callaway arriving at DeBoer's. Get ahead of the fitting rush and schedule your appointment today. They do such a great job getting you all set up and decked out with your new stuff. Located at 5311 99th Street in Edmonton. Scotty was asking Struds when you were going to go in to get outfitted with some new weaponry so you can take a run at the title. Getting the title, the Got Your Back title back from me. Brownie, you are definitely going to have to be involved in this year's golf championship because it's 2 years in a row I've held it, and I'm looking for better competition.
That's not accurate. Brownie's better than both of us. If you and I could play a scramble against Brownie, we'd still lose. He doesn't look athletic.
We'd factor in handicaps.
Okay, wait, that's a backhanded compliment. He doesn't look athletic. Like I heard that. Words hurt, Jason.
I know, but I was trying to say you're such a good golfer, even though you don't look athletic. Like, same with the Walrus. What was that golfer's name? The Walrus.
Craig Stadler. You're comparing me to Craig Stadler? Come on.
That's a hard shot.
Seriously.
That's aggressive,
looking
Struds.
Athletic.
Wow, that's OUCH. Ouch.
What Struds lacks in game, he tries to bring in intimidation. Right? This is what happens. You show up to golf against Struds, and he shows up carrying his bag over the shoulder. And then there's a chirp in there as you've got your little automated cart with the controller. He thinks that's reason to chirp because you've got the automated cart with the controller and he's carrying.
I don't have an automated thing with a controller. I don't play with one of those, no.
But is it better than riding in a cart? I think you're still walking. I think it's better.
True.
So do you walk or do you ride the cart?
I like doing a pull cart. That's what I would do. But it depends. If I'm on my golf trip with my buddies, you need a cart because you usually have 2 or 3 drinks, and I can't carry all of those if I'm walking. So,
if I'm not sure how you can show your face in your clubhouse after you've toured 18 with a remote control driving your cart. Every time I got to the 18, I'd throw that into the trees and then grab my bag and walk out like I carried it.
The first time Struddy and I played, I didn't have the remote control cart, but I had the electric cart, Zuby. But it was a rainy day, and I had the umbrella on it. So, I had the umbrella. So you got the umbrella holder in, and then the umbrella over your head, and it's like cruising along with my club shielded from the rain by the umbrella. And the look on this big donkey's face when he saw me in the parking lot with this thing.
It was embarrassing. I lucky there was nobody there. I don't know this guy, I just paired up with him.
So Shogger, your thing, you have a remote that's driving your clubs around?
Yes.
Yeah, so my bag sits on an electric cart, and I can control it with a remote control. So it just walks in. I walk, and it just rolls in front of me. It's awesome, dude. So many of the other, mostly elderly gentlemen and ladies at the club have them. I would be one of the younger guys to have one of them.
One of the younger. The other guys are all collecting their CCP, right? They're on it. Right, you're by far the youngest person there with it.
The first. Do you use it in your garage? Do you use it in the garage just to?
The first time I ever used it, I go wheeling up to the tee. I think I was playing Broadmoor, and there's these 2 guys there, easily in their 60s, and they're walking with push carts. And it was the first, I didn't know how to use it. So it was like stopping and starting. I ran into it and my clubs half fell off and I'm trying to put them back on. These guys are sitting there looking at me and they're like, huh? Little young for one of those, aren't you? Like complete stranger. I'd never met him before and he fired the chirp at me. So anyways, sorry, Zuby, we're leaving you hanging, buddy. What do we got for a poll?
I'll tell you what, I haven't seen one of those, but I very rarely golf. But what would be cool is if it were self-driving and it like followed you, except for then for me, it would be like having to bump over all the tree roots as I'm going around through there, following you around, looking for my ball. But
it does it all. Go see the guys at the Boers. They will hook you up. That's where I got mine. It's spectacular.
When I'm in town. Okay. This is the poll question tonight. Asking the fans here, how would you feel about the Oilers signing John Klingberg? We've got Klingberg. We've got 3 options. And maybe there's a little gray here, but we said option A, like it. He fits the bill. Option B, worried he's diminished by injury. So that's kind of the maybe we'll call it answer. And option C is I've got my eye on somebody else. So those are the 3 options. And the injury concern taking the early lead in the poll here. Yeah, the maybe option, if you will.
Senior Hontorio Mome says Schauger seems like the type of guy who has string and Band-Aids in his wallet and pockets of Scotch mints. Don't have any of those things, but I proudly have a remote control golf cart. Proudly. And it is the reigning Got Your Back champion. I believe I was using it the day I retained my championship belt, Struds. So keep that in mind, bud, when you're chirping.
Yeah. Do old people have string in their wallets?
Yeah.
What does that mean? That's really funny to me, but I
string and Band-Aids. I've got string. All right. That was Takeaways brought to you by Martin Motorsports. When we come back, we got what do you got, Brownie?
I got some string in my pocket.
Was it in your pocket? Was it in your pocket?
No, it was on the table.
When we come back, Brownie Points, Struddy's World, and you know what? We'll do Ask Us Anything as well because we want to have Rob Brown in for that. So lots still ahead on the show. Stick with us here on Got Your Back.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Mellotron says Schauger just out there handing out saltwater taffy on the course. Chairman Ma says, is Schauger's cologne actually just Bengay or Tiger Balm? None of that is true. None of that is true. Proudly use a remote-controlled golf cart, and I crush with it.
I like the Werther's Original line was a good one, too. It said, for sure you've got something full of Werther's Originals.
From Emma Terry? No,
Yeah.
Hate Werther's Originals. Totally overrated hard candy. Ooh. Hot take. Time now for Struddy's World, brought to you by Timberhouse Developments. If you're thinking of building an in-law suite, Timberhouse Garden Suites are perfect for keeping them close, but, not too close. The designs are unique, anything but cookie cutter, and the experience of building with Timberhouse is second to none. They'll treat you like family, build you a great house or garden suite, and take care of you and yours for years to come. Go see Don and the great crew over at Timberhouse. Timberhouse.ca is the website. All right, Struds, what do you have tonight, my friend?
Yeah, I'm going to give credit to Rob Brown for a text he gave me, and we were kind of talking about this, and this is where the idea came from, this one. The Winnipeg, the Minnesota Wild third goal. It was a defensive zone faceoff for the Oilers to the left of Calvin Pickard. Connor took the faceoff. They put Bouchard on the wall, the right demon on the wall. They placed Ekholm slightly left and obviously behind the center, which is Connor McDavid. Then in the middle, right on the circle, they had Leon, and then to his right, lined up on the hash marks, was Zach Hyman. So that's how the setup was. The faceoff went kind of squirted to the right of Connor and just below the hash marks. Both forwards, as they all do, they just blasted forward, hoping they're going to get the puck. In the meantime, Hartman gets it, and Ekholm, who's in a bad position, tries to go out and get it. So this is what happens every now and then when you have a very offensive-minded face-off in your own zone. And they do it often. And usually they win it back, and Ekholm just throws a grenade over top of everybody, and they skate into it, and they're out of their zone. But every now and then this happens because I've said it before, I'll say it again, you can't trust a forward. But these are things you have to accept when you're playing this type of a setup in your own zone, boys.
Okay. Now, the setup, this was the setup that was wrong. It was not the execution. So Leon Draisaitl's the inside guy. His job, as soon as that puck is dropped, is to get out to the defenseman. You don't even look where the puck goes. Your job is to get out there. Leon did that. Hyman, he's on the outside. He's in the high slot. The Oilers don't have a defenseman in front of the net, which was the mistake. Their thought was, we're going to win the draw. We got an offensive play set up from a face-off in their own zone. And the Oilers are one of the few teams in the NHL that do this, and they have it all the time. They have these setups. But if you lose the play, Ekholm, he was screwed. There was nothing he can do. He looks like the bad guy because he's chasing Hartman in front of the net, but where the puck went, he has no chance of getting that. Hartman's got more or less one-on-one him against the goaltender, Calvin Pickard. So it wasn't the execution. It was the setup that was the problem in this play right here. If you're going to have an offensive play setup, you better win the faceoff, because if you don't, it's an offensive chance for the Minnesota Wild.
But Brownie,
yep,
all they have to do is just pay attention to what happens on the draw.
That's
all they got to do. You can't just have blinders on and go, I'm skating no matter what happens. I'm skating that direct. No way. Have your head on a swivel and just do this. Just do that.
Because if you hesitate, then you're not getting out there. You're going to get picked off. You're not getting out there. Watch every face-off.
Hedge your bets a little bit.
Watch every face-off. The winger goes directly out there. As soon as the puck drops, he goes directly out there. Every time. This is time. Normally, there's a defenseman there. It's just this. It was a bad setup. It was a terrible setup. Leon Draisaitl's man is the defenseman. Zach Hyman's man is the defenseman. Hartman, the guy that scored, his guy is Ekholm. But Ekholm was lined up behind McDavid, which is, if the puck goes to where it did, Ekholm is absolutely screwed. He has no chance of getting there. So this is on the setup, not on the player.
Come on. Good news. Someone's job is to look.
No, that's not your job. That's not your job.
Brownie, I'm not surprised or disappointed in your response, because you're a forward and you don't consider the feelings of the D-men. So I can give you Draisaitl going out to blasting out to his point man in case he gets it. But why is Hyman in such a hurry to get out of there? Hyman can hang around in the slot until the puck goes up, and then he goes up.
Hyman's still not going to get there.
But Hyman's
he's too far out. Time is too far out there anyways, where he's set up on the faceoff.
But he could have stepped back.
You're a half step.
His first step was up ice.
Hartman's still going to beat him to the net. He's still going to beat him to the net. No, it was just they are planning on winning the faceoff. They are planning on winning the face, and if they don't, they're in trouble. Yeah, and they didn't win it, so they were in trouble.
So they went all in, and so you just accept it. You accept sometimes goals like this are going to happen when we're all offense. But I think Hyman can stand there for a second, see how the worm turns, and then go one way or the other and get it. There's no rush to get out.
I want to know where that saying comes from. The worm turns.
Well, we don't.
What does that mean
tonight? But
what is the worm turns?
Zuby can Google that. Yeah, we need to get to the bottom of that one. What are the origins of that?
Just accept that it was suitable to this discussion we're having right now.
I'm not going to accept that until I hear what it means.
A forward. I can't believe a forward thinks it's okay to leave the front of the net. Nah, it's okay. Someone else will do it. What are those guys called again? Oh, they're D-men. Yeah, the D-men. Let's talk to those guys.
But they have
like someone just take a look. Just take a quick peek before you just put the blinders on and go blasting out to the blue line as fast as you can. Just take a quick peek.
You have a set play where your play is to take off. You're taking off. That was a set play. Connor,
but it's only one guy's job to take off. It's only one guy's job to take off. Someone needs to be assigned.
They're both
to hold the fort there.
No, they're winning the draw. They're taking off. Then Ekholm's throwing it, so they're getting on their horse to win the race to the puck. That was the set play. They weren't expecting it to get won to where it was won, or lost to where it was lost. I tell you that. Watch the next time they do it; they'll do the exact same thing.
Okay. Sounds like
let's look for that.
The worm will turn is actually Shakespearean. It's from Henry VI, Part 3, when Clifford says, "Who scapes the lurking serpent's moral sting? Not he who has set foot upon her back. The smallest worm will turn, being trodden on, and doves will peck in the safeguard of their brood."
Wow.
So I still don't know what it means.
Yeah,
the only thing I needed was an accent.
I didn't want to quote it. It's embarrassing. You guys should know where that's from.
Yeah.
Grade 11 English. Mrs. Fillich, how you doing? You know, so.
No. Thou doth protest, Struds. No. Emma Terry says getting an education in here tonight. Gomez says, don't go getting the last word here, Shogger. Moving on. We will move on. We're just moving on. Okay. Enough infighting. Let's roll some happy music and let's get to Brownie Points. Everybody's favorite segment brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Their beef jerky is out of this world. We've told you this story, but it's so cool. 2009. They got to decide. What do we send into space with the astronauts to give them the sustenance they need while astronauting up in space? One of the answers was the sweet and spicy jerky from Hamel's. Amazing. For the month of January, free shipping Alberta-wide on all orders over $55. Hop on to albertajerky.com to order yours and enter code GOTYOURBACK for an additional 10% off. Brownie, try and be right about a few things in Brownie Points. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to start with 18 Brownie Points to the Edmonton Oilers. They are 18-4-1 in their last 23 games. They're not all Picassos. They're just finding ways to win hockey games. They fall behind by a couple goals, find a way to win. The top line isn't playing well. The second line will score. Their goaltender will steal them a game. Great hockey clubs, and that's what the Oilers are trying to become. Find ways to win when they don't have their A game. That wasn't their A game tonight. They found a way to win. I got 2 Brownie Points to the revamped Oilers second line. Every game when the Oilers go nuclear, when they put their 3 best players together, the Oilers are desperate from offense from all the other lines, and they usually don't find it. Tonight, Nugent Hopkins, Arvidsson, Podkolzin, they were a difference maker in this hockey game. They scored 2 goals tonight. Big reason the Edmonton Oilers won is they found scoring outside of their top line. I have got 7 Brownie Points for Calvin Pickard. 7 wins in his last 8 starts. 11 wins on the season. The backup goalie for the Edmonton Oilers, I'm not sure if there's another backup in the National Hockey League that's giving the quality starts that Calvin Pickard has given the Edmonton Oilers. Another quality start for him tonight. I have got 100 Brownie Points to BLT Partners, a consulting firm. I don't know if you guys saw the Packers and the Eagles game the other day, the doughhead fan in the stands. He's wearing an Eagle jersey. He starts yelling and screaming at 2 people, a couple. They were wearing Packers outfits, and he was saying things that you cannot say. It was absolutely horrible.
Saw that.
Absolutely horrible. It was terrible. It was videotaped. It went up viral on the on YouTube or whatever it is. The company that employed him fired him. Said that's not the type of person that we want working for our company. Good on them, because it was absolutely atrocious the thing this guy was saying in the stands to this young couple. And finally, I've got 3 Brownie Points to Ryan McLeod. Had a hat trick tonight, and I don't know. Did you guys see his hat trick goal? It was hilarious. He had two goals in the game. At the very end of the game, Tage Thompson ices the puck going into the empty net, hits the post, and bounces out about 15 feet from the net. Ryan McLeod wins the race to it. He's about to shoot it into the empty net, And Brent Burns, the guy that looks like Paul Bunyan, came down with an axe, snapped McLeod's stick in half. Puck couldn't go in the net. A ref awards him the goal. Ryan McLeod's first ever hat trick. He only scored 2 goals and was awarded his third. So good on Ryan McLeod. Now has, I believe, 10 goals on the season. And those, Schauger, are my brownie points.
Not a lot to criticize there, Struds. Brownie points on point tonight, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Good stuff, man. Yeah, Ryan McLeod. Ryan McLeod with the Hattie. Nothing like that to ignite a live stream on an Oiler podcast. And Jeff, on the same night that Jeff Skinner's a healthy scratch, was it 4 games in a row? Yikes. We haven't really talked about that. Maybe we'll get to that in Ask Us Anything. Let's get to that segment right now. Zuby, hop back on in here, my friend, and let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payment, shorten your loan term, or just want to understand your options, Maria Gallus with Maximum Mortgages has got you covered. Whether you're renewing, refinancing, or purchasing a new home or investment property, contact mortgagesbymaria.ca. All right, Zuby, we have a great number on the stream tonight, and we want to thank everybody for hopping in. It's building, and it's tons of fun. I see lots of new faces and new names in there. Well, new names, not faces. And we're loving it, Zuby. It's just growing, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, excellent. Fun night. Great number. Really steady all night. But before we get to some questions, Brownie, you weren't here right off the top of the show. We talked quickly about idols. Who our idols were. We were talking, I think, kind of sports-wise. You can go off the board if you want, but we've got a lot of great write-ins, but I thought we'd get one from you first before I got into some of the cool ones that came in on the stream.
Bobby Orr. Bobby Orr is my favorite player ever.
Very nice.
And then I've met him one actually pretty cool. It's a quick story. I was playing for Pittsburgh. We were in Boston, and whenever we used to stay in hotels, you always leave the door open because guys walk up and down the hallway, you playing cards, you come in and talk to you. 4 of us were playing cards, and all of a sudden the door opened and Bobby Orr walked into our hotel room. And I'm sitting on the bed playing cards, and Bobby Orr laid on my bed with his head on my shoulder. Oh, Brownie, that's a good one. Play that one, Brownie. And I was like, oh my God, I want this night to never end. But I also want it to end really quickly so I can call all my friends back home that Bobby Orr was in my bedroom. And well, actually, that didn't sound good. He was in our room, but he's calling me Brownie, and like, it was the coolest thing ever. And then as we're ready, he's ready to go. He says, hey, you guys hungry? And we're like, sure. So he gets on the phone and he orders all of this food we want. Nachos, we want this. And he goes, and put it on Eddie Johnson's room number, please. And Eddie Johnson, EJ, was our GM. So Bobby Orr charged it all to Eddie Johnson. But that's the first time of 2 or 3 times I met Bobby Orr. One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And it's kind of cool when you meet your hero and he's as cool as you thought he was going to be.
Yeah. I was at a dinner that Bobby Orr was hosting for about 60 people. And I was able to bring someone, so I brought my dad. My dad loved Bobby Orr. And so said a quick hello, introduced him, said a quick hello, but Bobby Orr had a lot of glad-handing to do that night, right? So we go sit down, we're at a table of 12 people. It's a steak dinner. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, set of hands on my dad's shoulders, arm around him. How we doing, Lester? And it's Bobby Orr. Remembered his name and then took the time to circle back around and come say hello. And he was doing that. He was working his way through the room, and it was amazing the number of names he remembered. I got a picture with Bobby Orr and my dad, my late dad. One of my favorite memories in my life was my dad having the opportunity to meet Mr. Orr.
It is incredible. He's an awesome man. That's a really cool story, Schauger.
Yeah.
So we had some really good ones come in on the stream as well. I won't bring them up all on screen because I'm going to rip through some of them here. But Aaron St. Pierre said Gary Carter. Maverick said Pavel Bure. Samson said Gretzky and Lafleur were his idols. Jeff Langout said Messier and Carlos Delgado. Lebowski said Gretz. Deutschland Dangler said mine was Stevie Y. Sue said Wonder Woman. That's pretty cool.
Love it.
Gomez said Doug Waite. A couple people came in with Doug Waite. JL said Schweedy. I idolized the work ethic, so that was nice to see. Jameson Hartnell said Brett the Hitman Hart. That's pretty cool. Not My Name said Bruce Lee. He was a terrible hockey player, I would guess, however. Dead Ratman said Ace Frehley of Kiss. That's pretty cool. Bobo Fett says in life, Jacques Cousteau in sports, Bobby Orr. So it went on. It was great. We had lots of variety coming in on the stream.
Love it.
So
Thanks for the contributions.
yeah, definitely. Okay, where did I want to go first? Neil Garrity said Nuge had a good game tonight, especially considering he had to play second center 5 minutes into the game, whether he was expecting that or not. Nuge took a beating a little bit early in the season, but he's really turned it on. What do you think of his game here lately, Struds?
Yeah, I think that he's just used to being all over the lineup, right? I mean, he's power play, penalty kill, center, wing, first line, third line. Like he's just, I think he's just used to it. He is put where he's needed, and he's such a good team guy that he's willing to accept that. When he doesn't score, I think there's a lot of he does catch heat for it. But like tonight was a really nice tip. Even better shot by Emerson, though. That was a great play by a D-man. I know Brownie won't agree, but it was a great shot by a D-man. But I would like to see, I think he should be a 20-goal scorer, Brownie, a year. I think that on top of everything he does, 20 should be his floor.
Yeah, and I think he'll get there. He had a slow start to the season, as a lot of players did. He's been very good for the last, 25 games. He's been much better, and he touches everything in the game. He's power play, shorthanded, plays in overtime, 5-on-5 important face-offs in his own zone. He is a guy that the coaches have full trust in. So I think his game has turned around, and one of the reasons the Oilers are back on the way and playing the right way.
Top unit power play, one of the main penalty killers, 5-on-5 guy that can be a top line winger or a second line center if you want him to be. Veteran guy, great in the room, $5.125 million. Like, I got a lot of space for Nugent Hopkins' game for what he contributes and what his cap hit is.
When he signed that last deal, how many players at his age that are good contributing players do you know of that take a pay reduction in their next contract at his age? Like, I was blown away by that. That was just
he wanted
crazy.
to be here.
Yeah.
He wanted to be here. And I think the team understood that, and they did a deal where he got the no-move protection that he required for his family, got the term he required and wanted, and the team got a good dollar figure. I mean, the guy's going to make, what did he make, 80, 90 million, 60 million in his career, whatever it is, so he's okay.
Yeah, I think he got the total amount he wanted spread over the years that the team wanted, is how I would frame it.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Obelisk21 says, I think Pickard's real value is that the coaching staff are not afraid to give him tough starts, which allows them to manage Skinner's workload. I imagine with Pickard now, they're looking at the schedule for him, but I don't think they're looking at the opponent at all. So how valuable is that, Brownie?
Well, I disagree a little bit. I do believe they look at the opponent. I think that the bigger the game, those games will go to Skinner. But I do think they have full faith in Pickard, that they don't have to. I mean, last year Skinner played too much, and it showed late in the season. Now they have full faith in Pickard, and they can play him whenever they want to. But I do believe that they will cherry pick games, that if there's back-to-back games, Skinner's getting the one that's more important for them in the standings. But Calvin Pickard's given them quality start after quality start. He's been fantastic. It's funny, all the different stories about the Oilers. Calvin Pickard, where he is from where he was, a year and a half ago in the Oilers farm system to where he is now, having won a playoff game for them, he is a really, really good story from what I've heard, a really, really good guy.
Keep it rolling, Zoobs.
Oh.
No,
all right.
He nailed it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's roll it. Bobo Fett says, Oil team defending was leaky. We touched on this, but even though, it's kind of celebratory right now and everyone talking great stuff about Pickard, do you think there's more that they're going to be looking at on tape and in the room going into the Colorado game, Struddy?
Oh, absolutely. And it's good. Sometimes someone has to be a hero. Tonight it was Pickard. The Oilers are much better defensive than they showed today. There was too many chances, and leaky's a good way of saying it. So, do you have to have video? Maybe there'll be some small amount of video tomorrow because they won't skate, but it's a 2.5-hour flight into Denver. So I'd be surprised there's much tomorrow morning, but I do think that there'll be a coach will just say, hey, guys, we're better defensively. and we got away with it last night. We won't get away with it against the Avs.
Can I just chime in real quick here? A few people, Zuby, asking about Noah Philp on the stream. We haven't talked about him. Obviously, the long-awaited, or I'm sure you were going to get there, Zuby. But Brownie, you first, and then Struds, weigh in on what you thought of Philp tonight, guys.
Quiet. Didn't really see. I mean, he didn't play a whole lot. He played 8 minutes. He didn't look out of place. There was nothing that really happened offensively or defensively when he was on the ice, which is fine when you're a fourth line centerman. It's low event. So I don't think you really saw a whole lot of whether this is what you need or if this guy's in over his head. I don't think you saw that tonight. I think he's going to need a few more games, and I think you got to give him a few more games. Struds?
Yeah, I thought, it's a good time to call him up to get him in some action. Definitely not endorsement for Skinner, the skater, not the goalie. His hair is longer. To me, I was looking for pace. Did he have the pace going? And I thought his pace was fine. So there's a player here for sure. It's just my question is, can he be a player for this team this year? And if he is, how are you going to get him there? Because he's got to play, I think, at least 10 minutes regularly to get that confidence and that flow of the game, guys.
Quickly notable from me, when we last saw Derek Ryan losing a defensive zone faceoff in the last minute of a close game, Philp 4-1 in the faceoff circle today, 80% in the faceoff circle. He can do himself a massive favor when he gets in by digging in on those draws.
100%. Then you feel confident putting your fourth line out for a faceoff in your own zone.
Yeah. Zuby, couple more, buddy, then we'll wrap because we're a little over time tonight. We've been goofing off too much.
Okay, well, the Philp conversation then kind of indirectly leads to the Skinner conversation. Struddy, you said the other night, we'd rather dress nobody than you, they said to Skinner, by playing a 7th D. Then they'd rather call a guy up from the minors and play him than Skinner. My question is, there's been lots of talk about it. My question is, do you think that the conversations like with Skinner, the player or his agent or somebody, are those conversations already happening behind the scenes, do you believe? What are we looking at down the road with this player? What's his future with this team?
Struds? Is that to me or to Struds?
Go ahead, Struds. Struds, if you got something.
I've chimed in on this a lot, guys. I think there's going to be a divorce here. I just, it's not working. And he wants to play, and he wants to also work for a contract for next year. Not for the money, but just a contract on a team that people believe him. I believe he's capable of much more than he's been given opportunity to do here offensively. And he's not getting it. So it just doesn't make sense. Like at some point, I think as a player, like this isn't working. Like I'm not 20, I'm whatever he is, 30 something. Like let's move on here. Let's split. So I would think there has to be something going on with the agent. Has to be.
Yeah, I agree. I think he and his agent are talking. Again, everyone wants to be part of a championship. Everyone wants to be part of a team, but nobody wants to be sitting in the stands. And for Skinner, Derek Ryan has played in front of him this year, and that's a 38-year-old, 39-year-old guy who is in and out of the lineup. He's been benched for an empty space on that line for a 7th defenseman. He's been benched for a guy called up from the minors. I mean, he's not, and they're gonna add at the deadline. So he sees the writing. He knows that if the Oilers started the playoffs tomorrow, he's not in the lineup, and he might be further down the depth. Like he might not be next guy, and he might be 2 or 3 guys away from getting into the lineup. So to me, it's one of those ones, Kate, I'm not part of this team. Eventually, you don't feel part of it, Schauger. I think eventually you're like, you know what? I'm going to move on. And I agree with Struts. I think he can play in this league. I think he can be in the top 6 on some teams in the National Hockey League. I think he could probably score 25 to 30 goals. It's just not here in Edmonton.
Interesting comment here from Paulie. That's the exact reason they're scratching him. So he waives his no movement clause. Paulie with an interesting point on maybe the team applying some pressure to the player who is in control. Zuby, let's do one more and then get out, bud.
Okay, perfect. Last one. Let's have something looking ahead to tomorrow night. Obelisk 21 says, do you think they sit Perry on the back-to-back games, given the break with the game at Elevation? Maybe that's how Skinner gets back in, or someone else. Do you think any roster changes going into tomorrow night, Brownie?
I wouldn't. I seriously, I wouldn't. I mean, Derek, you want Philp to play, so you're not putting Derek Ryan in at center. And I just like what Perry does. So to me, you're not taking out Philp. Why take Perry out back to back? He only played 8 minutes, 10 minutes tonight. I don't care what time they get in. He's not tired. So I honestly, no, I think they'll go with the exact same line. That's just my opinion.
I think you'll see Stetcher in for Brown. A little bit speedier.
I agree with that.
Not that Minnesota is slow, but there's some speed in Colorado, man. So
again, if we see Josh Brown again, it's telling. They're testing him, they're pushing him. They for some reason they want to see what they've got. They're very deliberate about this, and if he plays on back-to-backs, that'll be very telling. That was Ask Us Anything, brought to you by Mortgages by Maria. With that, Brownie, we bid you adieu.
Before we say goodbye, I just wanted to throw out one more. We had one more really good idle comment that I wanted to get out, which was our friend starting over at 61, who said, I only ever had one idol. My grandmother, she taught me what it means to accept people regardless of their faults. I thought that was a nice little...
Love it.
That is very nice.
Yeah, and it's in that same spirit that we invited Brownie to be part of this show. You know, like there were a lot of, as you all know, a lot of reasons we could have said, no, it's not going to work. We looked past those, and it has gone not bad. So, Brownie, happy to have you.
I appreciate it. My wife has looked past those faults for 35 years as well, so I appreciate that.
And just remember, all the kids watching, if you're a forward, you can do whatever you want in your own zone. Don't worry about playing defense. Just fly the zone. The D-men will do it.
Well, you're a defenseman. You're supposed to defend better. Okay, Jason?
Outrageous.
Defend better. I'll go score. I'll be at the red line. Hit me with a stretch
We
pass.
know.
See you, Brownie.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy, buddy. All right, that is Rob Brown. We'll get that microphone sorted out for the next show. Before we go to break, a very small scoreboard to get to tonight, but we are going to get to it. And Struds, in conjunction with that, we'll also take a look at the standings because the Oilers, pretty interesting position in the standings right now. Canadian Club is our sponsor for the scoreboard. The all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at 58%. Their highest proof CC Classic to date. Full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, and rich oak with a butterscotch finish. Struds, just one other game tonight.
Yeah, only 2 games tonight, but 3 tomorrow. So Buffalo, they get another win on the back of Ryan McLeod's hat trick and Dylan Cousins, guy that's been on the trade rumor block for their group. So empty netter for a hat trick for Ryan McLeod. 4-2. 4-2 Sabres.
So as a result of tonight's game, Struds, like the standings are getting pretty interesting for the Oilers here. Just to make sure this is refreshed. Are they 43 games? This browser sometimes gives me a little bit of
44.
trouble. Is it 44?
Yeah, 44 for Edmonton and Vegas. And Vegas has 61 points and the Oilers have 59. Behind them is LA with only 41 games, but 53 points. So if LA wins all those games, they'll find themselves tied with the Oilers and 2 points behind, assuming that the Oilers don't play between now and then. But you got what I'm saying.
Bigger picture, league standings, Struds. Overall in the National Hockey League. Yeah, sorry, this worked now. The Oilers are, they're sitting in 4th place right now in the entire National Hockey League. They've come a long way, buddy.
They have. They've had a good run. Washington, Winnipeg, Vegas, and Edmonton, and the Wild, I guess. So, pretty good group of teams there. And 2 of them are in the Pacific Division. So,
how are
not
the
easy.
Washington Capitals where they are? How, nobody even picked them to make the playoffs.
I know. I
crazy.
remember questioning their off-season moves, all this stuff. You're like, you're Luke Dubois. Their D-man, Logan Thompson, or their goalies, Logan Thompson, all this stuff. And it fits together. And the best part of it, is that they're supporting, they're winning, but they're also supporting Ovi's chase for the record. It's not just a death march to that, 879th goal or whatever it is.
Pretty epic stuff. All right, quick break. When we come back, we're going to do some focusing on some individual players that take a trip. We're going to take a lap around the league. Lots more still ahead. Stay with us.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolandentistry.com.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
All right, just a couple months away from the NHL trade deadline, so let's take a look at who might be packing up and taking a trip. Brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, quick winter escape, or trip to watch your team play, don't forget travel insurance. They have your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more. Big name potentially taking a trip. Struds, seems like every year Johnny Gibson is in trade talk, but this might be the year.
Yeah, the rumor mill is going to John Gibson all the time. Long-time goaltender for the Ducks. Let's look at his career. When he started, came in, this guy was a beast, right? His numbers were great. Everyone was talking about how good he was. And then the last few years, it went a little soft for him, right? Now the team wasn't that good, and there's been some struggles there for different reasons. But it seems like this year he has kind of found his game again. His save percentage is at a number that people would feel comfortable with. Lucas Dostal, the other netminder there, is a younger goalie. He'll require a contract. So people think that this might be the year that the little ball of hate, Pat Verbeek, the GM of their team, might move this guy out to another team. So, where and for what? He has 2 years left at $6.4 million. Who can take it on? Who needs a goalie? And then what does that look like as cost? So it's really quite complicated. I believe this trade, but I believe it's long overdue. No, I don't think the Oilers should trade for him.
Yeah, I know. I always see that in chatter and different boards and stuff and comments. The Oilers are fine with their goaltending. They're going to let her buck with these two and see what they have. Carolina Hurricanes are a team that often comes up, conversations in and around him. I think a pretty darn good team that if they can bolster that position, Struds, for when it matters most, probably would have maybe been able to push it a little farther than they have the last few years.
Yeah, it seems like they always have like injured goalies, guys. You know what I mean? Like it's always the challenge for them. So the Ducks have spots to retain money. They only have Fowler right now, so they have 2 more spots they could retain. I think that would be part. Carolina always seems to grind on deals. Look at the deals they've done, like for Brent Burns and these types of guys. So yeah, I think there might be that probably makes a lot of sense with them, and not that the Ducks are in any threat to be competing against a team in a closer division, but I just feel that it's time. It is time to move on from this player and give him quite frankly a chance to get out and go win somewhere.
And there was reporting that there's kind of an agreement between the two sides that they're going to shop for deals. They're going to look for deals. And you talk about the uptick in his play. He's playing like a guy who is trying to live up to as much of that contract as he can, so that he is a movable asset. Like he wants, I think he wants to go. And if he plays well enough, then the team can find a deal that's palatable for him, Struds, because I'm sure they're willing to move on from him, but not if it comes at some big cost, moving other assets out with him because of the contract situation. If he's not playing well, it's not that movable a deal.
Help yourself get out of there, right? If you want to go try something new, you've got to play well and make people want you. And I think he's done that. I think that I do believe that John Gibson will be traded before the trade deadline. So he has 6-7 more weeks on the beaches of Anaheim.
Johnny Gibson, you might be taking a trip. Courtesy our friends at Alberta Blue Cross. Okay, now for our core Blue Liners segment, Struds. We're going to talk about a player that was, making some headlines earlier on in the year. Pretty high draft pick that was looking for a trade, and finally it happened for him. Core Blue Liners brought to you by HSE Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, they have your back when it comes to health and safety compliance, creating, managing tailored health and safety programs that meet all legislative requirements. HSE Core definitely is the place to go if you need this service for your business. HSECOR.com is the website. Struds Juracek is the man we're talking about.
So really a high draft pick a couple of years ago. I think he was like six overall. And it's funny, like it felt like the production or the cameras tonight for the Wild Oilers game were really far back. So it gave you a huge snapshot of what was going on the ice. So Juracek didn't play a lot, but I could see him a lot when usually it's kind of more focused or limited on what they're showing on the play. So it actually worked out really well. I'd seen him play before. He's, just a kind of Cole's notes. He's a big guy, right shot, skates well, like all those basic things. What I didn't appreciate, and I didn't see till tonight, was he's quite aggressive, actually. He's a pretty physical guy, yep. Cross-checking guys in front. He, for a younger player, he's not afraid to be a little bit heavier type of player. He can make some passes, and it was a bit of a tough night just because there was a lot going on out there with chasing around Connor Leon, although he wasn't out there against a ton. But I think that if I'm guessing, they'll probably, when they get healthy, he'll be returning back to the minors and he'll be working on his game down there. And I think that eventually he will find his way back up to where, he with the status he was drafted at. I believe he could be a top 4 defenseman just with the raw skill and his kind of insight in the game tonight.
Yeah. Big guy, young guy. I saw the same aggressiveness that you did. I like seeing that in him. I think there's some frustration, right? Wanted that situation in Columbus to come to an end after being the 6th overall pick. Interesting draft year, Struds, that draft year, 22. Slavkovsky, Nemec, Cooley, Wright, Cutter Gauthier, Juracek, Korchinski, Kasper, Savoy, Mintnikov, Geeky, Matachuk, Nazar, McGroarty, Lekaramaki, Oslin, Kemmel, Bischel, Ogren. Bit of a pattern here, right? Not a ton of super recognizable. This was not one of those stellar years at the draft where you're like, holy smokes, right? It was a bit of a down year. And so he was a really high pick, but wanted to be in the NHL. I think that was part of the issue in Columbus. Felt like he deserved opportunity and wanted to be there. And maybe as a number 6, you'd think normally they maybe would have had a chance, but I mean, it wasn't a great draft year. It's not like all these guys have been beaten down the door.
Yeah. So I think your point's well made. And my advice to this player would be to see the long game. And I know that that's hard to tell someone this young, but that's the role of the agent to say, listen, these people want you to succeed, especially now. I believe that it was a 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounder they gave up for him in Minnesota. Yeah. They want you to succeed. I would suggest that you go and really learn your craft and just think long-term. Don't look at the games played right now. Look at how you're improving. And that'll serve you better in a year or two than maybe playing 10 minutes in the AHL for the next, year in that group. So that's hard, though. That's a hard conversation to have with a young player.
Lots of opportunity right now with all the injuries they have on the back end. If he can find some consistency, get a bit of, a little bit of traction there, that'll do him a lot of good. Lots of opportunity right now. That was our core Blue Liners segment. Okay, time for us to take a look at what else is going on around the league. And that is our Taking a Lap segment brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled tradesperson or construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, in the Edmonton area, Acon wants to hear from you. Go to the website, www.acon.com, and click on Join Our Team. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join the Acon team and start building what matters. You can send your resume as well. Trades@acon.com. That is trades@acon.com. Big company, proudly operating here in Edmonton, and they are looking for people. So trades@acon.com is the email. Okay, Struds, where do we want to go tonight, buddy?
Well, let's start in Toronto. And huge news out of practice for Toronto Maple Leafs. There was doing a bit of a power play drill. You can see the video online, and John Tavares gets caught up in Kristanev's kind of feet and looks to kind of do this splits as he falls into the boards. Stays down, gloves off. Usually when the gloves are off, that means that you're in some significant discomfort. Was able to skate off, though, and then walked off, and it looked like a limp. To me, the way he was walking, it looks like a groin issue or a muscle issue. I might be wrong.
Okay.
After the practice, Craig Berube said he's still being evaluated on his status. So, we'll see what happens. But that team, they've had their challenges at center with Austin Matthews being out, and now if Tavares is out, even for a short amount of time, it's going to hurt them.
29 goals all of last season for John Tavares. Already has 20. He's already at 42 points in 44 games. Yeah. What a year for him. He's been so good for them. And is turning back the clock a little bit. So we will see what happens there. What do we got for our second stop?
Yeah, we'll go into Pittsburgh. And this seems to be a trend. And you guys brought this one to me. But Evgeny Malkin his home was robbed during a game. And they made out with the Stanley Cup rings and took some other things.
Yep.
And it sounds like this is happening to professional athletes. People know when they're out of their building or out of their home, and then they're going in and stealing stuff from them, which is very scary because everyone does know when you work, right? And when you're not there, and that's definitely not ideal. So maybe high-level athletes are looking for another layer of security around their homes.
Yeah, I wonder, Struds. You left town all the time. A lot of guys are leaving a wife and kids behind. If you're in a smaller town, you're pretty prominent. People know who you are. They know where you live. There's gotta be something to that. Security systems, that's gotta be something you have to deal with.
I got robbed in Chicago.
Really?
I was away and I don't remember, I think it was a road trip. And I came home and my door was ajar. I'm like, what's going on here? And I didn't have a lot. They took my laptop. They took all my DVDs. I got a sick collection. Took some of my hockey jerseys, my game-worn hockey jerseys. So, looking back, did they know what I did? And I guess maybe. I don't know. I never really thought it. And I remember my girlfriend at the time is now my wife. She's like, how are you going to go back in there and live? I'm like, I don't know. It didn't bother me at all. I wasn't bothered at all. I just changed the locks and that was it. And I just kept rolling. If you want to take my stuff, no problem. I got insurance claim and I wasn't upset.
My house in Kamloops got robbed when I was a teenager.
Okay.
Me and my brother Mike get home, grab a snack. We're sitting on the couch. We're like, "Where's the TV?" That's weird. Right. So we went downstairs. The TV downstairs was there. So we sat downstairs watching TV.
Yeah.
And then there was 2 or 3 other things. We're like, "What's going on?" But never even occurred to us. Dad gets home 2.5 hours later. He's like, or I think my mom came home. She's like, guys, we're like, what? Where's the TV? We've been robbed. Had no clue. Absolutely oblivious couple of donkey teenagers just sitting there eating bowls of cereal, completely clueless.
I hear you.
Yeah, did not compute at all. By the way, Tristan Jarry on waivers. How about that one out of Pittsburgh too? But oh man, what a disaster that has been. It has been messy under their general manager Struds out there.
It has been. But you know what? Goalies seem to find a way back. They can bounce back. Not all of them, but some. Would that be a guy you try to trade and have them eat half of it?
Man, yeah, it was bad. It's been rough. I don't know if that even.
But he's had some good years. He's had some good years, right?
He has. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. All right, that was Taking a Lap, brought to you by our friends over at Acon. Zuby, before we get to our play of the day, we should wrap up the poll, my friend. I'm interested to know where this one landed, buddy.
We'll get to Struddy. I'm guessing the worst thing about getting robbed was that you had to get a new copy of Love Actually DVD, and you probably the one you had was probably already signed by Liam Neeson, right?
Yeah. Liam Neeson, my favorite actor.
If they had seen that movie, they would have left the disc behind, I'm sure.
Oh, jeez.
Could you imagine what a flex that would be? You steal all the DVDs and Love Actually, you leave it sitting there.
I'm going to find these people.
All right. The poll question tonight was, how would you feel about the Oilers signing John Klingberg? I struggled with his name a couple times tonight. Most people, 49%, say they're worried he's diminished by injury. 33% saying I've got my eye on someone else. And only 17% saying, like it, he fits the bill. So Oiler and Nation, got your back, yeah. Oiler fan anyway. Not super excited about that prospect and the rumor going around. Over 400 votes, huge numbers on the stream tonight.
Love it.
Thanks to everyone for joining us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, love it. He fits the bill. That would be a stretch for anybody to be thinking that at this point. Nobody knows what this guy's going to have. So it'll be something wherever he goes to keep an eye on. All right, let's wrap it up with our play of the day, brought to you by Gallery Dental, taking the first step towards a stress-free dental experience. They've got modern dentistry for today's patient with the most up-to-date dentistry, sedation, and implants. So much more. Contact gallerydentalYEG.com. I forgot to tell you to pull this, Zuby. So I'm just going to try and show the video off my phone. This was actually not from tonight, so it's a little bit of a moldy one, but I love it. Macklin Celebrini, San Jose Sharks playing in Detroit. And here's a video of Macklin Celebrini. Kid said, "I'll trade you sticks." Had a sign. And this is Celebrini interacting with the other team's fans, trading his stick in warm-up for a mini stick that the kid threw over the boards to him. So if you can see that, this is awesome stuff. This is the other team's fans. And the kid throws him the mini stick, and over the boards he goes. And look at the smile on the kid's face. So love cool. That from Macklin Celebrini. I think that's awesome, Struds. This kid, charisma. He's a gamer. Yeah. The game's in good hands with this next generation, him. And Connor, same thing with Bedard, too. Like, great personalities on these young guys.
Yeah, and tons of skill. Sick amount of skills.
Yeah, no question. Okay, that wraps the show. We were a little long tonight, but we spent a little bit extra time clubbing each other over the head, so it was well worth it. But good job tonight, Struds. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, good. Thanks to everybody tuning in. We love it. It's great to have so many people join us. Big party. Thanks.
Yep. So we're at 5,700 subscribers on YouTube. We'd like to get to 6,000 at some point. I don't know if anybody out there can help us with that. If you want to tell a friend, if you don't currently subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Let's set a goal of getting to 6,000 subscribers. I don't know how long that'll take. A year? 2? Can we do it in 3 weeks? No idea. But if you don't currently subscribe, please do so, and let's see if we can pump that number up just a little bit. Zuby, hot take on the way out, buddy. You got a hot take. You said it to us in the break. The world needs to hear it. Drop your hot take on the way out.
If Skinner not getting a shutout for missing 2 minutes and Pickard not making any saves, if that doesn't count as a shutout, then I don't think a hat trick where you score the third goal on the empty net should count as a hat trick.
Oh.
It's not a hat trick.
Boom.
Love it.
Boom.
Boom.
With that, we're out. Nice job, Zuby.
Got to score on a goalie.
Yeah. We'll talk after the Avalanche game. Enjoy, folks. See you soon. Thanks for joining us. Love ya.